Hello students, in the last week we have taken the overview of blockchain technology. We have taken a general overview of this blockchain technology. We have studied what is blockchain technology, what is shared ledger, Bitcoin and smart contracts. Also we have studied the types of networks. So in this week we will try to go as per the syllabus. So first we will discuss the syllabus of unit 1, then we will discuss the books we have to refer for preparing the subject, the book which is readily available on the internet for downloading. So I will tell you about the book which is available in this session. So main focus is the contents of syllabus. So first we will talk about the book that we have to refer for preparing the subject. As this technology is emerging technology, cutting edge technology, just invented 10 years before. So there is a lot of choice which book we have to refer for preparing the subject. Thanks to the internet, there are some books that are available on the internet. So I am telling about the one book that you have to refer for preparing the subject. So the book named The Mastering Blockchain Technology by Imran Basir. This book is available on the internet. If on Google, if you type this Mastering Blockchain Technology by Imran Basir, packed publication second edition, we will get a very first link, and from that link you can download this book. This book almost covers the 80% to 90% syllabus of this subject. So I request to all students to download this book from the web, and you start reading this book. You don't treat this as a subject, but this is the cutting edge technology, and some people may get job in this area. Most of the banking and other systems in future may go on the blockchain technology. So this is a very good opportunity for us to study this subject, this latest technology, as a part of our syllabus. So students, you type on Google search engine this keyword Mastering Blockchain Technology by Imran Basir. You will get the link to download the book. So you download the book, and then for preparing this subject you also go on to the YouTube. On YouTube there is a course available on this subject by IIT Kharagpur on blockchain technology. So if you search the YouTube with the keyword blockchain technology course by Professor Sandeep Chakravarti, IIT Kharagpur, you will get the videos of this subject, blockchain technology. And if you see most of the almost all the syllabus is constructed by using this course by Professor Sandeep Chakravarti. So I request to the students to listen the lectures of this Sandeep Chakravarti. It has almost 25 sessions on the blockchain technology. So you start watching these sessions, you will get the idea of this subject. So we are going beyond the this NPTEL course, because this course has only 25 lectures sessions, but we are going in more details of this subject. But for reference, for clearing your doubts and some more idea about the subject, I request all the students to watch these sessions of this Professor Sandeep Chakravarti. So this is about the book. There is one more book about this subject that is available on the internet. I will provide you the link also on the Google Classroom, and also if possible I will send you the uh, PDFs of these books. This is how we have to prepare this subject, blockchain technology. So students, in today's session uh, we will see what is the syllabus of unit 1, and we will try to go as per the syllabus. In previous week we have taken a general overview. Most of the topics we have studied about the blockchain technology. We have studied what is blockchain technology, its applications, what is block. In general we have taken a overview, and that overview is essential. That much time we have to spend on taking the overview of this subject, as this technology is new to us. So from this session now we are concentrating on the syllabus of this subject. So in this session we will discuss what is the syllabus of unit 1, then we will see what is public ledgers and different blockchain definitions. We have studied one definition, but there are several definitions of blockchain technology, because this blockchain technology is a combination of different technologies that contribute this to this blockchain technology. So there are several definitions for this blockchain technology. Then we have to see what are the terms in definition of this blockchain technology. We have to discuss these terms one by one. Then we will discuss about the Bitcoin. We have studied the Bitcoin in previous sessions also, but again we will revise and we will go further into this Bitcoin. Then we have to study what is smart contracts, and we will summarize this session. First we will discuss the syllabus of this unit 1. So students, if you see the syllabus of this unit 1, the unit 1 syllabus is divided into two parts. Part 1 consists of blockchain overview. In this we have to take the overview of blockchain technology. Already we have taken a deep overview of this blockchain technology in previous 4 sessions. Then we have to study what is public ledgers, Bitcoin, smart contracts, block in a blockchain, and then transactions, distributed consensus, and then we have to study public versus private blockchain. Then we have to understand the cryptocurrency to blockchain, then permission model of blockchain, overview of security aspects of blockchain. So this part 1 covers a general overview of this subject, what is ledger, what is block in a blockchain technology, then types of blockchain networks, public and private, and permission model of the blockchain technology. This is the first part of the unit 1, and second part is about the security. So in this second part we have to study basic crypto primitives. In this we have to study what is hash function. We know that the blocks are hash linked blocks. There is a each block contains transactions and hash of the previous block that we have studied. Then we have to study what is this hash functions, then what are the properties of a good hash function, then hash pointer, Merkle tree, public key, cryptography, digital signatures, and zero knowledge systems. This second part is about the security and cryptography. So this unit is divided into two parts. First part is general overview of blockchain technology, and second part contains a cryptography, or you can say security aspects of the blockchain technology. So students, in previous sessions we have studied what is a ledger. In blockchain technology, ledger is a shared ledger. In these ledgers all the transactions are stored, or we can say recorded. Once the transaction is committed, once the transaction is finalized, the transaction is stored in the ledger, and this ledger is a shared ledger. Ledger is a public ledger. that we have studied. So a distributed ledger or public ledger, which simply means that a ledger is spread across the network among all peers in the network, and each peer holds a copy of the complete ledger. So this ledger is a public ledger. This ledger is spread across the node network among all the peers. Peers are nothing but the nodes. Nodes is the individual entity in the blockchain technology. This node is capable of sending and receiving messages. The node can initiate the transaction, or node can validate the transaction, that we have studied in the previous session, and each node holds a copy of the ledger, or we can say blockchain. Each ledger is nothing but a blockchain. Blockchain contains a blocks. These blocks are linked blocks. These blocks are linked through the hash link. Each block contains a transaction, hash function, hash value, and hash of the previous link. So these ledgers are distributed, and this every participant has the copy of the ledger, that we have studied in the previous session also. So shared ledger or public ledger is a general or broad term that is used to describe any application or database that is shared by the public or a consortium. Generally all blockchains fall into the category of shared ledger. So this shared ledger is a general term, and every shared ledger is not every public ledger is not blockchain technology. But these blockchains fall into the category of shared ledger, and this every individual node has the copy of this shared ledger, or you can say blockchain blockchain technology. So although all blockchains are fundamentally distributed ledgers, but all distributed ledgers are not necessarily blockchain. Every distributed ledger is not a blockchain, but blockchain is a synonymous term for shared ledger. Blockchain also has the ledger type concept. It has the blocks, and each block holds the transaction, and every individual node has the copy of the ledger. A complete transaction, the previous transaction and current transaction are also stored in the blockchain. So what is distributed ledger? A distributed ledger, a critical difference between a distributed ledger and blockchain is that a distributed ledger does not necessarily consist of blocks of transaction to keep the ledger growing. Distributed ledger is a general term, like a blockchain. It does not necessarily consist of blocks. It may be used for other purpose also. A blockchain is a special type of shared database that is comprised of blocks of transactions. So we know that in previous sections. In blockchain there are blocks. These blocks are linked to the each other. First block in the blockchain is called Genesis block, and from next blocks, these blocks are linked to the previous block. Each block contains a transaction, hash, and hash of the previous block. So whenever the new transaction will happen in the blockchain technology, that transaction is sent to all the nodes on the blockchain network or peer-to-peer network. Every node has to validate the transaction. Once the transaction is validated, that block is inserted in the blockchain. That concept we know in previous sessions. We have studied what is block, and how the blocks are, how the transactions will happen in the blockchain technology. So an example of a distributed ledger that does not use blocks of transaction is R3's Corda. This Corda does not use the concept of blocks. Corda is a distributed ledger which is developed to record and manage agreements, and is specifically focused on the financial services industry. So on the other hand, more widely known blockchains like Bitcoin and Ethereum make use of blocks. So this Bitcoin and Ethereum make use of the blocks to update the shared database. So we know that this blockchain technology came into the picture because of this Bitcoin. The Bitcoin transactions will happen on the blockchain. Then distributed ledger technology. Over the last few years, the terms distributed ledger or distributed ledger technology have grown to be commonly used to describe blockchain in finance industry. Distributed ledger technologies are permission blockchains that are shared and used between the known participants. So there are different types of blockchains, private blockchains and public blockchains, and this one more type of blockchain, that is permission blockchains, and this blockchain is for uh, uh, the transactions that will happen between the known participant, the participants which will know to each other. Such type of uh, the scenario where the security is important and the participants are already known. So where in this scenario, this permission blockchains are used. So we will, in the coming lectures, we will see what are the types of blockchains. There are public blockchains, private blockchains and permission model of the blockchain. So we will go into the details of these different types of blockchains in coming lectures. So DLTs, or you can say distributed ledger technology, usually serve as a shared database with all participants known and verified. In this, all the participants are already known and these participants are verified. They do not have cryptocurrency or do not require mining to secure the ledger. So this is the concept of this distributed ledger technology, in which the participants are already known and there is no need to mining. That means there is no need to secure the transaction because the participants are already known and transaction participants are verified in the distributed ledger technology. So in previous sessions we have studied one definition of blockchain technology, but there are several definitions of blockchain technology. Several fields of science and technology contribute to this blockchain technology. So there are several definitions that emerge for this blockchain technology. So we will study these definitions one by one, and also we will study the keywords used in the blockchain definition. So first definition: a blockchain is a decentralized computation and information sharing platform that enables multiple authoritative domains who do not trust each other to cooperate, coordinate and collaborate in a rational decision making process. So in previous sessions we have studied this definition. Blockchain is a decentralized network. It is a information sharing platform that enables multiple domains who do not the domains that do not trust each other. Such type of nodes, such type of people participate in this blockchain technology to cooperate, coordinate and collaborate in a rational decision making process. Decision making process means the nodes in the blockchain technology has to validate the transactions. When they agree with the transactions will be committed. Transaction will be stored in the blockchain technology. The block is created with the transaction and that block is added to the blockchain. We know that block is appended at the end of the blockchain. It will not happen at the middle or anywhere in the blockchain, but it is appended at the end of the blockchain. We have studied in this previous session also. Then there is one more definition of blockchain technology. This definition is by layman's definition. Blockchain is an ever-growing, secured and shared record keeping system in which each user of the data holds a copy of the records, which can only be updated if all parties involved in the transaction agree to update. So you can see, dear students, this definition is very important. Blockchain is an ever-growing, it is revolutionary technology. This is secure technology. It is shared record keeping system in which each user of the data holds a copy of the record. So this word is very important. Each user holds a copy of the data. So in this blockchain technology, each user holds a copy of the ledger, or you can say blockchain, and which can only be updated. This copy of the ledger, this blockchain can only be updated if all the parties involved in the transaction agree to update. If all the parties agree to update the transaction to finalize the transaction, then that block is added in the blockchain. And for validating the transaction, the nodes will get the incentive. So there is one more definition of this blockchain technology, technical definition. You can see third definition, blockchain is a peer-to-peer distributed ledger that is cryptographically secured, append only, immutable, extremely hard to change. Immutable means this ledger, this blockchain is difficult to tamper, difficult to change, and updatable only via consensus. Consensus means when the parties will agree, then only that ledger is, that blockchain is updated or aggregate among peers. So we will read this definition again, students. So you will try to read the third definition of this blockchain technology again. Blockchain is a peer-to-peer distributed ledger that is cryptographically secured, append only, immutable, and updatable only via consensus or agreement among peers. So this definition contains several keywords. Blockchain is a peer-to-peer network. This is first keyword. Then it is a distributed ledger. The ledger is distributed among all the participants, and every participant has the copy of the ledger. This blockchain is a cryptographically secured. That means these blockchains are secured by the hash values, and one more technique is used, that is proof of work, to secure the blockchain blocks in the blockchain technology. Then it has append only. We can add the blocks in the blockchain technology blockchain, but we cannot change the blocks. That means these blocks are immutable. Immutable means these blocks are extremely hard to change. Once the block is added in the blockchain technology, it is difficult to tamper, to change the block. And updatable, and these blocks are updatable only via a consensus. When all the parties, when all the nodes agree to update the block, then only the block can be updated in the blockchain technology, or agreement among the peers. When the peers means the nodes, when the nodes agree to update the block, to add the block in the blockchain, then only that block is added in the blockchain technology. So this definition has several keywords. Then you can see last definition of blockchain technology from a business standpoint. A blockchain can be defined as a platform where peers can exchange value or electronic cash using transactions without the need for a centrally trusted arbitrator. So in this definition, technical terms are omitted. This definition is as per the business standpoint. In this, how this blockchain technology will benefit to the business, that is described in this definition. So you can see a blockchain can be defined as a platform where peers can exchange value. The peers, or you can say nodes, the parties that participate in the blockchain, that can exchange the values, that can, these parties can exchange the cash using the transaction. With the help of transaction, these parties can exchange the values or electronic cash without the need of a central arbitrator. Without needing the central trust authority, the transactions can happen in the blockchain technology. So this is as per the business point of this blockchain technology. So there may be more definitions of this blockchain technology. We have studied the 4 popular definitions of this blockchain technology. So dear students, you can see the keywords that are used in the blockchain, that is peer-to-peer network. The network is a peer-to-peer network. So in previous sessions we have focused one complete session on what are the types of peer-to-peer network. So you can refer that session. And then distributed ledger, the ledger is distributed among all the participants, and every participant has the copy of the ledger. Every individual player in the blockchain has the copy of this distributed ledger, and this ledger is cryptographically secured. This ledger is cryptographically secured. There are different mechanisms used for securing the ledger, hash values, then public key cryptography, digital signatures, proof of work. There are different mechanisms that are used for securing the blockchain in blockchain technology. Append only, transactions can be added to the blocks can be added to the blockchain, but once the block is added in the blockchain technology, that block cannot be altered, that block cannot be changed. If we want to change the block, then if all the nodes agree, if all the nodes agree, then we can only update the block in the blockchain technology. The blocks can be updatable via consensus. Consensus means when all the parties agree, then we can update the block in the blockchain tech. So dear students, you can see the network view of this blockchain technology. Network view means this view is like a ISO OSI layer. This is the layer structure of this blockchain technology. If you see from the network point of view, how the blockchain technology we can see in a layered fashion. So at the bottom of this network view, there is a internet, and on internet there is a peer-to-peer network. This peer-to-peer network, in peer-to-peer network, every node can become client and every node can become a server, that we have studied in the previous sessions. Then you can see in box, this block is a blockchain layer which consists of the whole blockchain is shown in the block that is covered by the line, and that blockchain layer consists of transactions, blocks, consensus, state machines, and blockchain applications. And above this blockchain layer, there are users or nodes. So this is the layered structure of this blockchain technology. So we will see in detail this layered structure of this blockchain technology. So in students, you remember that there are 4 layers. Bottom layer is internet layer, then second layer is peer-to-peer layer, and in block there is a blockchain layer where there are different layers that are combined in one layer, that is blockchain layer: transactions, blocks, consensus, state machine, and blockchain application. Above this layer there is a 4th layer that are nothing but the nodes or users. So we will see the explanation of this network view of this blockchain. At the bottom layer in the previous diagram, there is the internet, which provides a basic communication layer for any network. So this internet provides a basic infrastructure for blockchain. This is the bottom layer of this layered structure of this blockchain technology. Above the blockchain, this internet layer, there is a second layer, that is a peer-to-peer network runs on the top of the internet, which hosts another layer of blockchain technology. So this above this peer-to-peer network, there is a layer that is called blockchain layer, which contains several entities like transactions, blocks, consensus mechanisms, state machines, and blockchain smart contracts. All of these components are shown as a single logical entity in the box. So we have studied in the square box, we have seen several entities, and these entities are bundled in one layer, and that is nothing but a blockchain layer. All of these components are shown as a single logical entity in a box representing blockchain above the peer-to-peer network. And finally, at the bottom there are users or nodes that can connect to the blockchain technology and perform various operations such as consensus, transaction verification, and processing. So we know the role of user in blockchain technology. Users can send and receive messages. Users are nothing but the nodes, or we can say computers. These computers can initiate the transaction. These computers can validate the transaction. So this we know that node is nothing but a computer, and users or people can interact with the blockchain network with the help of these nodes. So in previous sessions, students, we have taken a overview of Bitcoin. What is Bitcoin? Bitcoin was introduced with the invention of Bitcoin in 2008. Its practical implementation then occurred in 2009. Satoshi Nakamoto, who has published the paper on white paper on this Bitcoin technology, and from this paper the world come to know the about the Bitcoin and blockchain. Blockchain provides a infrastructure for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is nothing but a cryptocurrency, or we can say electronic cash. So in 2008, a groundbreaking paper entitled Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system, was written on the topic of peer-to-peer electronic cash under pseudonym Satoshi Nakamoto. It introduced the term chain of blocks. So this Satoshi Nakamoto has introduced the chain of blocks, and the blockchain provided the infrastructure for this blockchain Bitcoin technology. So no one knows the actual entity of Satoshi Nakamoto. So no one knows about this Satoshi Nakamoto, this who was this person, and it was mystery. After introducing the Bitcoin in 2009, he remained active in the Bitcoin developer community until 2001. He then handed over this Bitcoin development to its core developers and simply disappeared. So after this after 2011, this Satoshi Nakamoto has disappeared, and people don't know about this person, who is this Satoshi Nakamoto, who invented this Bitcoin. And because of this Satoshi Nakamoto, the world come to know about this blockchain technology. Since then, there has been no communication from this from him whatsoever, and his existence and in mystery. So this is who was this person, that is mystery. People who don't know who is this Satoshi Nakamoto. So Bitcoin definition: Bitcoin is a combination of peer-to-peer network protocols, software that facilitate the creation and uses of digital currency named Bitcoin. So you can see the definition. There are several keywords in this Bitcoin definition. Bitcoin is a combination of peer-to-peer network protocols, software that facilitate. This software facilitates the creation and uses of the digital currency named Bitcoin. So decentralization of currency was made possible for the first time with the invention of the Bitcoin, and double spending problem is solved in the Bitcoin. So we have studied what is this double spending problem. So there is a separate unit on this Bitcoin. During that unit, we will study what is this double spending problem. So you can see, students, what are the main components of Bitcoin. The main components of Bitcoins are digital keys. These Bitcoins are exchanged with the help of public key cryptography. The private keys are used to digitally sign the transaction, proving the ownership of the Bitcoin, and public keys are used by the nodes to verify the transaction. Then addresses. In this Bitcoin, each transaction has the address, sender and receiver address. Transactions, this is the third component of this Bitcoin. Transactions are not encrypted and are publicly visible in the Bitcoin. Transactions are not encrypted, but the identity of the owner of the transaction is confidential, hidden in the Bitcoin network. So blockchain miners are the nodes that validate the transactions. Miners get reward for validating the transaction. Miners are nothing but the computers, nodes that validate the transaction. Bitcoin network, this is the one more component. And wallets. Wallets is nothing but the client software. The wallet software is used to store private and public keys and Bitcoin address, and it performs various functions such as receiving and sending the Bitcoin. So these are the different components of this Bitcoin: digital keys, addresses, transactions. Blockchain miners are nodes that validate the transaction. Miners get reward for validating the transaction. Then Bitcoin network is a peer-to-peer network where the nodes are connected to each other through the peer-to-peer network, and blockchain provides the infrastructure for Bitcoin. Wallet is nothing but a software that stores a key, private key and public keys. It performs various functions such as receiving and sending Bitcoins. Transactions in Bitcoin network. How the transaction in Bitcoin network will happen. So in previous sessions we studied how the transactions will happen in the blockchain network. Similar to this, we have to study what is how the transaction will happen in the Bitcoin network. So transaction starts with the sender signing the transaction with their private key. So whenever the node wants to start a transaction, it will start a transaction signing the transaction with their private key. That a transaction is signed using the private key. Then transaction is serialized so that it can be transmitted over the network. So transaction is serialized, and this transaction will go to all the nodes in the network. And what is the role of node? Nodes has to validate the transaction. We know that a transaction is broadcasted to the network. The transaction will go to all nodes. Miners is nothing but the node. This miner word is new to us. Don't confuse about this miner is nothing but a node. The role of node is to start the transaction, to validate the transaction. This is the role of node in the Bitcoin network or blockchain network. So miners are listening for the transaction. Miners will pick up the transaction and miners will validate the transaction. Transactions are verified for their validity by the miners. Miners will verify the transaction, and miners will validate the transaction, and miners will get the reward for validating the transaction. Then transactions are added to the candidate proposed block for mining. Once the transaction is validated by all the nodes, then that transaction, the block which contains the transaction, is added to the blockchain. Once mined, the result is broadcasted to all the nodes on the Bitcoin networks. So once the transaction is finalized, updated, then the result is broadcasted to all the nodes, and all the nodes will update their copy of the ledger or copy of the Bitcoin. So dear students, uh, so we will wind up this today's session, as it is going to become a long session. So the remaining topics, smart contracts, blocks, we will discuss in the next session. So thanks for watching session. Now we are going according to the syllabus. In previous sessions we have taken the general overview of this subject. So in this session we have studied what is public ledger, what are the definitions of blockchain technology, and we have studied what is Bitcoin technology and how the transactions are processed in the Bitcoin network. This we have also studied. So in coming lectures we will study uh, blockchain technology, blocks in a blockchain technology, smart contracts, and types of blockchain networks. We will try to study in the coming session. So we will wind up today's session. Thank you for watching this session. Goodbye.